I have an exciting announcement to make, which is the future of sales is finally here. For decades, sales organizations and sales leaders have been on the hunt for high performance. But if you've looked at your sales dashboard recently or you've been reading the news, things seem to be getting worse and not better. The vast majority of sales reps today are missing their target. Burnout is ravaging the mental health of sellers and leaders everywhere. Sales organizations are losing top talent left, right, and center. And executive teams find themselves backed into a corner treading water, feeling like the only choice they have to resolve these performance issues is to issue company-wide performance improvement programs or issuing layoffs. Well, instead of talking about that, let's talk about the future, shall we? Now, in order to achieve high performance in sales today, we need to innovate on the way sales teams and leaders approach performance management within sales. And in a traditional performance management approach that 99.9% of managers are using today, we have our sales pipeline. And then when we look at this sales pipeline as leaders will typically use things like leading indicators. They'll look at things like qualified opportunities in their pipeline, the activity metrics, and you'll look at things like how many leads you're getting each month. And then they'll also start evaluating things like lagging indicators. So close rates, length of sales cycle, churn rates, and then based off of these metrics, they'll start to look at the overall health of their sales pipeline. Are we on target? Are we going to hit our forecast? Where do we need more volume metrics? And based on conversion metrics, what sales competencies require more training and more coaching? And based off of these things, they're determining how their team is performing. The problem with this approach is it's failing to consider the most important factor, which is how are our people, sellers, and managers showing up each and every day. Sales is primarily a mental game, which means how well someone performs in this mental game every single day depends entirely on their mental performance, and this mental performance is being determined by their overall mental health. The traditional performance management approach that we just talked about, and some of those sales KPIs that we were looking at that are being used today, it's not really equipped to catch underperformance when someone starts to really struggle or feel unwell. Situations like advanced burnout, things where there's depression, or states in which someone is feeling so stressed or so anxious and so overwhelmed that the only option they feel is to take stress leave or time off from work. And what we actually need to do, and if sales teams want to perform at a high level in a high pressure situation, then we have to learn how to maximize the amount of time our sellers are spending in this high performance zone in which they're thriving from a mental health standpoint. Now, in order to do this, we have to realize that our commonly used KPIs, they are both lagging indicators measuring the output of our reps. We need to focus on the input of our reps, the real leading indicators like, are our reps anxious? Are they stressed? Are they depressed? Did they sleep right? Are they exercising? What are they putting into their body every single day? And two, when they encounter a negative experience like an angry customer or a buyer ghosts them, or maybe they miss their target, do they have the resilience, the mindset, the stress management, and the mental health training and support they need to respond in a mentally healthy way so that they can create an upward spiral instead of a downward spiral? By focusing on these input metrics, we can really empower sellers to reach peak levels of performance and well-being through better mental health. So that's why I'm excited today to announce the future of sales is here with the launch of the Wendy Rhoades program that I've built for sales teams. So if you're unfamiliar with Wendy Rhoades, she is a character from the show called Billions, and she was essentially hired by the hedge fund in this show to provide mental performance coaching to traders and portfolio managers working in a high pressure environment. And she was there as someone who could help coach these high performers through stressors and adversity to mitigate the impact on their performance. Now, I truly believe that every sales organization which desires high performance needs to create a full-time position like this internally, maybe something along the lines of the sales enablement of well-being. But in the meantime, the Wendy Rhoades program that I created can help get you started. It essentially involves a diagnostic survey in which we start capturing data on a wide range of individual factors. So things like, how are individuals on your team sleeping? How are they eating? Are they balancing their life inside and outside the workplace? But it also includes capturing various team insight data as well, based on factors like, does the people on your team believe in company leadership? And do they have enough resourcing to do their job well? And are they receiving enough recognition? And then based off of this data, I'll be working with managers individually to help them cover different areas, fill in gaps, identify blind spots that they might have, and then leading team-based sessions based off this data to identify and improve the key areas that are impacting their performance. Now, you might think that's really cool, but what does this actually look like? So I'm just going to show you really quickly. So if I look at the program in action, so this is sample data from a client that I'm currently working with. And this data is being captured and completed by our data and analytics partner called Leon. They're doing really amazing work within the space. But what you'll see here is down the left-hand side, you'll see various different factors that are being collected. So at the top here, you have various personal data metrics. So things like balance, curiosity, food habits, general stress. And then at the bottom, you'll have things around company metrics, recognition, teamwork, goals, load. And at the bottom here, you'll see things like burnout and resilience and well-being, as well as things like retention to help see what teams are at risk of losing top talent. But what's really interesting is in this example, when we look at this team, is you can see that general stress is actually doing pretty poorly for teams across the entire company. But if you look at some of these individual metrics, other than sleep that we see here, they seem to be doing pretty well overall from an individual standpoint. And when we start to see where that stress is coming from, it's coming from things like unclear goals. It's coming from load management. It's coming from administrative issues, things like red tape that are taking sellers away from being able to execute on revenue generating opportunities. And then the really cool part about this data is we can actually start looking at what the data looks like at an individual team level. Now, this is going to be anonymized, so this data doesn't get shared, names with the client that I'm working with. But you can see here, if you look at one of the teams in particular, you see this person is struggling with their balance. And you also see that they're struggling with sleep. And if we look at this data specifically, adding things like a performance improvement program, or doing things like investing into more coaching or sales training or things to help them run demos more effectively. None of that stuff for this individual specifically is going to work. They need help in areas like balance, and they need help in areas like how do they get proper sleep every single day. So this is the kind of data. This is really where the future of sales is going. We need to work together, help get our minds and our bodies right, so all of these other investments that are being made can actually pay off when our people are showing up their best every single day. So I hope you're encouraged by this. I'm really excited to launch this program. I'm only going to be able to work with a few clients and going forward, just because I'm still sorting out what does my individual capacity look like. But if you're interested in working with me, if you're interested in getting your team to a state in which they're actually performing at a high level in these high stress, high pressure environments, send me an email at jeff@saleshealthalliance.com, or you can also send me a DM on LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn, so you can connect with me there. But I look forward to working with your team and sharing the details of this program with you, and I can't wait to see you on a future video soon. I'll see you there.